Hey, what's up everyone? Wanted to give you a quick recap of how the half mile went. Honestly, it didn't go too bad. I raced the same two Volkswagen Golf Rs for the majority of the day, and that really was not because I didn't want to race anybody else, but because the other people that had cars similar to mine, there was a few guys there that I wanted to race that just kept telling me, oh, we'll do it later, and it just never happened. But basically the two Golfs were similarly modified. They both had intake, piggyback tune, and I believe a downpipe on both of them. I know one did for sure. And both the guys told me they were running about 400 horsepower at the wheels, I think. So pretty solid competitors. But the one was a DSG, the other was a 6-speed manual, and the manual one was the guy I raced more. And his car was quick, but he didn't catch me on any of the races. I beat him every time. But the DSG car, I raced him from a dead stop, and I also raced him from a 40-mile-an-hour roll, and I beat him on the roll. He beat me from the dead stop. But I will also say I did not use launch control when I raced him from a dig, because I just didn't. It was the first dig race I did of the day, and I honestly didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how the flagger would do that, because most of the races were started by him basically pointing at you and making sure that you're okay. You give him a thumbs up, looks at the other guy, thumbs up, and he just kind of waves you on and you go. And I don't know, I didn't know what to expect, so I didn't even think to do launch control. And the guy pulled off the line ahead of me, and I never caught him. And as you can see, there's other videos I posted. If you check them all out, you know, that leads me to my next topic. The videos aren't the best, and part of the reason for that is because I brought two GoPros with me, and one of them was malfunctioning. I don't know if it was the heat or what the problem was, but it wasn't really working right. So it ended up meaning I only had one camera to work with for the day, and I tried mounting it on my car different ways to see if I could get better angles. And of course, when you're beating cars versus losing cars versus close races, you don't know where you're supposed to put the camera, because you don't know ahead of time when you go to race somebody how you're going to perform against them. And because of that, a lot of my angles are not that great. So I raced a Pontiac G8 GXP. It was an automatic, completely stock car basically. He had a cat back and a cold air intake, but no tune or anything. So his car was probably, if they're 415 stock, you know what, 425 now. So his car was running like 129 all day from the 40 roll, and I was running about 135. So my car was supposed to beat his, and I did. But again, my camera angle was garbage, so as soon as he disappears out of the camera view, that's it, you don't see him again. And it was a fairly close race. I mean, it's not like I walked away from him, but you know, you couldn't really tell. So that was kind of unfortunate. And the other closest race of the day was against the DSG Golf from the 40 roll, and there was a delay before we got to race in the pits. So while I was parked there waiting, they told us to shut our cars off because it was going to be a while. So I turned my car off to, you know, kind of cool off, and I had a kid riding with me. I didn't know who he was. If you're out there, you know, I believe your name was Josh. Cool guy. You videotaped it on your phone, but I never did get to see that, and because of that delay, I never turned my GoPro on, so I don't have any video of that race. However, the guy I ran against, Roy, with the Golf, he did tape it. He does have it on his Facebook, or his YouTube, excuse me, as well as the other race that we had and some other ones he did with other people. But his car was definitely a lot closer of a race than the manual car. I don't know if it was just the weather, and his car was just reacting better. I know the other guy with the manual car said his clutch was slipping, so you know, that's a possibility also, because he raced the manual car last spring when I was supposed to go. He ran his car and was running like 135, I think he said. So, but that was before he had the stuff done to his car that he has now, so he was expecting to run much faster, and he didn't. And I will say it was very hot out, so a lot of the guys with boosted cars were not running nearly as fast as they thought they would. I had friends that we went with, a C706 supercharged. He was running like consistent 155s all day, which you know, I think he was hoping for a little better, but you know, it's not the end of the world, because everybody was running slow compared to what they thought they would. But The other problem on the day was the 2 timing clocks where they get your speed at the end of the half mile. The day before, on Saturday, somebody had clipped one of the wires driving over it, I believe. And the piece that broke was not something that the guy that puts the whole event on had another one available. He had them, but they're in California and there's no way he was going to get it next day. So he didn't have the clocks working in the right lane. So all day long, if you want to get your speed, you got to go in the left lane. And I was only in the left lane 3 times, and all 3 of the times that I was in the left lane was 40 rolls, and I was about 134 to 135 for those 3 runs. The rest of the day I was in the right lane, didn't get timed. People I was racing were close, but sometimes were walking away from me, but it doesn't really matter because I didn't know some of the people, so I don't even know what they ran. But that was kind of an unfortunate thing that happened. For some people, I obviously am not going for records or anything, so it didn't really matter to me too much that I was racing without getting my speed, but there were guys that you see running down the track alone because you got 2 guys who want to go up against each other, but they both want their time, or their speed rather. So one of them's got to go in the left lane, one's got to go in the right lane, decides I want my speed, so they both go in the left lane one by one. Took a little longer, but I don't think anybody was upset about the number of runs they got, and it was definitely a productive day. A lot of people in and out, no accidents, nothing bad happened, so it was a lot of fun. But the other cars that I raced were a C5Z06 that was supercharged that walked away from me. I have no idea who the guy was. I just happened to get pulled up next to him because he was going to run solo. They asked me, do you want to come up and run this guy? So that's fine. Pull up, and as soon as the guy drops his hands down, this guy just took off from a dig. So I, again, wasn't expecting it. I took off. He destroyed me. I believe he raced one of my friends with their Corvettes and was close with them. So I think his car was in the 160 range. And no matter what, it was no contest. But either way, it was still kind of fun to see how badly I could get beaten by somebody with a car with much more power than mine. And then another friend of ours with a Porsche 911 Turbo, and he had a couple of things done to his car. So his car was, I want to say, high 140s all day, and he definitely pulled on me and beat me bad. So ultimately it was a lot of fun. I got down there first thing in the morning, 8 o'clock, driver's meeting 9, and I was one of the first couple of guys to go up there and race because right after it started, a lot of people were still kind of getting their cars off their car haulers and getting things ready to go, and they kind of wanted it to get a little warmer for their tires, I guess, but I didn't care about most of that, so I just lined up and raced and had a lot of fun. I guess I got in maybe 8 to 10 runs, so not too bad, not a bad day, but the car did well. I think the other thing that was surprising to me is the gearing in my car. I didn't really honestly know what to expect going into it as far as shifting and how my car would end up, but from a 40 roll, the half mile, my car basically topped out right at the end of 4th gear, which was perfect because I didn't have to shift. Well, when we did the dead stop starts from the flagger, those runs I had to shift into 5th, and the time wasted doing that when you're doing 136 miles an hour at that point is you waste more time than speed that you gain, so it really doesn't get me anywhere, so there was no point. But the whole day was pretty much the same consistency all through. Didn't miss any gears, didn't break anything. My car ran perfectly fine. The track itself, the runway is a little bumpy. I was a little afraid of that at first because my lowering springs, my car kind of has a little bit more bouncy of a ride than stock, but it held its composure pretty well. I mean, there was one pass where I didn't turn on competitive sport mode when I went down, or before I started, so I got halfway down the track and my car was kind of floating, and I was like, what the hell? I looked down, oh shoot, it double click it, put it in performance mode, car stiffened right up, so MagRide definitely does its job. Car definitely stiffened up halfway through the runway, and the braking zone was actually worse because you're trying to slow down and you can't really slow down as well because your car is jumping over bumps and ruts, and it's kind of hairy. But I don't know how guys are doing it from 200 miles an hour. I mean, to me, it felt pretty freaky at 125, 130 miles an hour when you're hitting the brake zone. But I don't know. So the other the other thing about the day that was kind of fun was that there was a lot of people there with cars that you don't normally see getting raced, like you know, the high power. I know people with BMW 3 Series and 1 Series, 2 Series that they're just the stock cars, but there's people there with these things with a lot of power. It's kind of cool to see like what they can do, and you know, there's a lot of cool cars. But the McLaren 650, I think it was 650S, that showed up. He didn't race, unfortunately, but there was a Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera, and surprisingly, it wasn't as fast as I thought it would be. He got beat by I believe it was a Nissan 240 with an LS3, probably with more work done, but he got beat by that car, and that I wasn't expecting. I just didn't think that was going to happen. I thought this Lamborghini was going to walk away, and that's that, but he never did. So definitely some interesting cars to see, and I think the fastest car of the weekend was a guy with a Nissan GTR that was running 211 from a standing start at the half-mile cones, which you can see in my videos when you watch them. There's a set of cones where the flagger is. That's about, I think he said, 600 feet back from the second set of cones, which the second set of cones starts the half mile, and then the third set of cones are the end of the half mile. So the entire thing, there's 3 sets of cones, flagger, and then start and stop at the half mile. So if you go from the very back, you're doing more than a half mile. But if you want to go strictly half mile, you have to go up to the second set of cones, stop, then go, which I never did because I didn't really care. So my car did well enough from 40 rolls that I didn't think I needed to do anything different. Didn't do any 60 rolls, didn't do any other speed, just dead stop from the flagger or 40 roll from the cones. So definitely a fun event. I don't think I'd do it again with my car stock, as people ask me what I'm going to do to my car next. A lot of you suggested supercharge it, which, perfect world, yeah, I'd love to supercharge a car, but I think that, you know, some other things might come first. Maybe, you know, considered getting a cam for the car, maybe an intake, throttle body, something like that. I think it'd kind of be cool to see how the car performs from where it's at now to doing a little bit more step by step. Sorry, this woman's riding my ass. But basically do like step by step, see how fast I can do with different, you know, levels of upgrades. So I think the next step now is probably to take the car to the quarter mile, because that's a much more realistic tell of how fast the car is, just because half mile events are kind of a new thing, and it's not really something that people in the, you know, people with these cars do a lot of. I know there's a few of you out there that have done it, but you know, I think it's more just for fun, because in the grand scheme of things, these cars are not that fast compared to what there is that people race at these events. Because I think that the advent of the half-mile race is because of the high horsepower all-wheel drive cars like GTRs and things of that nature that are just monsters, that you go to the quarter mile and it's, you know, it's quickly done with the quarter mile, and it's almost not fun for the guys that own the cars, is what I would imagine. So, you know, the half-mile racing is a lot more fun for those big horsepower cars. Not that quarter-mile racing isn't fun, because it is, but the, you know, the half-mile racing, I think, is just for the bigger horsepower cars. Cars like mine, you're kind of just ringing out your gears, and it's, I used to have a Mazda Speed Miata, turbo Miata, and this felt in the half mile about as much fun as the Miata did in the quarter mile, where it's like quick off the line, and then you're just in it, and you're like, this is, you know, I'm not really accelerating as quickly as I thought I would at these speeds, but, you know, it's not that it's slow, but it's just not, it's not what it could be. So, again, half miles, it was fun, but I don't think I'd do it again unless I had something major done with the car. And even at that, I would need a lot done, because, like I said, I was doing 136, my friend the Z06 was doing 155, so he's 19 miles an hour faster than me, with a car that has 250 to 300 more horsepower than my car. So, you know, it's not, it's, you need a lot of power to be one of the faster people at these events. But the quarter mile, the guy with the Golf that was the manual car, he wants to go to the track. He's local, he lives in Chicago, I believe, and he wants to go to the track with his car, run it, see what it does, because I don't think he's had his car there. I haven't had mine there. But I also want to bring my wife's car. I want to bring the Evo there, because I think that her car would do well in quarter mile, because her car's got such short, quick gears that quarter mile racing is not, you know, not bad for it, which that was another thing. There was a guy at the race with an Evo GSR, completely bone stock, and I tried racing him, or wanted to race him, and he refused to because he's like, oh, no, man, my car doesn't pull high end, it doesn't do it, it doesn't work. So, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to race you. And he was friends with the guy with the G8, so super nice guys, super cool guys, totally understood, but he didn't want to run because he's telling me his car doesn't pull up on the top end, and I absolutely know what he's talking about, because my wife's MR is not a lot going on up in the higher speeds because it's such short, quick gearing, and I would imagine the stick shift car is just the same. So basically, that's I think my next plan is I want to get to the track. I want to go to the quarter mile. I got my brothers with their GT500 and the C7 Corvette with supercharger, and we all want to go. We got some other people that want to go, so that I think is in the works. We got to plan something for that, but we got to plan it before the season ends, because it's, you know, getting near the end of September here, and into October you start having the threat of snow and rain up where I live, and you can't really race in those environment, you know, those weather conditions. So we'll see. We'll definitely, I'll update you guys if I'm going to go to the track. I want to go, but you know, it's kind of time and weather permitting. But anyway, that's basically where I'm at. And oh, I got the check engine light off. I got underneath my car, figured out where the exhaust leak was by letting my car be cooled first, started it, put my hand underneath it, and I had a clear pulse of exhaust gases coming out from the headers right before the cats on the driver's side only. So shut the car off, loosened up the clamps, got everything tightened back up together as best I could, retightened all the clamps, drove the car around a little bit. Didn't hear any ticking or anything, everything seemed fine. Parked the car again, let it cool off, put a fan underneath it. After about a half hour, went back out, started the car, put my hand underneath it. The ticking went away, and shortly thereafter the check engine light turned off and the system did a check. So that's good, check engine light's off. Now that was before I went to the races, so there's a possibility that after beating on my car like I did, that possibly my exhaust system may have loosened up again, because it was rubbing a little bit at the end of the event, but it went away since I've been driving it this week. I don't know why, but went away. So I don't know. I'm hoping that, fingers crossed, it doesn't come back, but we'll see. So if it remains off, that's great. If not, I'm gonna have to get back underneath it and fix everything again. So that'll be fun. Not. But anyway, like I said, I'll update you guys, let you know if I'm going to the track. Got some other videos planned I'm gonna hopefully get to do this week, maybe over the weekend. But if you got any suggestions or any ideas on what you think I might run in the quarter mile, I think this car is supposed to be like 12.9 at 110 to 112 stock. So, and I think it's the same for the stick versus the automatic. In fact, if anything, the automatic was a little faster, but that's what they say for stock. And you know, my car, like I said, I've got the headers, full exhaust, rotofab intake, and a tune. And you know, I think if anything, maybe my car should be 12.6, 12.5, hopefully, but I doubt it. I don't have sticky tires. In fact, these tires kind of slip a little bit if it's not super warm out, and I think that would hurt me. But either way, let me know what you think. I mean, you know, I'm curious to know what my car will run, and I think that'll be a lot of fun if I can get out there. And hopefully, if I do that, I have a working GoPro and not a broken one. So if we do that, definitely get some good video of that event too. So if you're stopping in for the first time and checking all this out, check my other videos out. I got all the races up from the half mile. You know, definitely a fun event. You guys should check it out if you haven't. See if they have one near you, because they are fun, even just to go watch. But anyway, if you're coming here for the first time, check those out, subscribe, like, and share my videos if you want, and we'll see you next time.